how are you feeling as we head into big game Lisa Frankenstein weekend?
I'm sure the PVOD business will be great.
Wow. Wow.
Look, it's a
I
fun
get it.
movie. I enjoyed it. It's getting mixed reviews, which aren't going to help. It's tracking at like over under 6-7 million, and I would be pleasantly surprised if it gets higher than that.
Mm-hmm.
It is the kind of film that we all say that we want, and then we don't show up for in theaters. It is the kind of film that's going to be a future classic to a generation of young women, teens, girls, college age kids, whatever.
Whatever.
And what I like about it is that it's very much indebted not just to Frankenstein, but to Tim Burton's Edward Scissorhands, which itself is very much a Frankenstein type story. But it doesn't wear its homages on its sleeve to the point where it needs references and recognition of the Burton film to exist. It's its own thing. It's a ripoff, don't remake, and it's going to inspire a fan base of people that have never even heard of Edward Scissorhands, and that is good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fun film. It's you could take this as a compliment, I guess. I'm shocked that I got a PG-13.
Okay, I like hearing that it should have gotten an R. That's intriguing.
Well, I mean, whatever. I mean, I take my kids were interested, I take them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying, if your kids can handle, whatever.
Yeah.
I was refreshingly surprised that the MPA was a little bit lenient this time out. Good for them.
Now, Scott, this usually would be a great counter programming to the big game, right? Because it is a movie that will be driven by female moviegoers. Unfortunately, this is the Taylor Swift Bowl. That is what this is. And that is where the young ladies are going to be training all their attention. Now, when you were putting this movie, when you thought as a studio, you're putting this movie out, this is the worst case scenario for this movie, right? To have this happen.
This is the second time that Universal or Comcast, this is a Focus Features film, has been kneecapped by Taylor Swift. Because they were going to open The Exorcist the Believer on Friday the 13th in October. And then in early September, Taylor Swift came out of nowhere and said, hey, we made a movie based on my concert tour. AMC is self-distributing. We're dropping it on Friday the 13th or Thursday the 12th, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so, understandably, Universal said, shit, and moved The Exorcist to October 6th. And and maybe this is just a matter of Universal / Focus Features being among the more committed old school theatrical distribution house that they're the ones that tend to get burned when stuff like this happens.
Mm-hmm.
The Fabelmans was the movie that got screwed over the most when Netflix says, yes, we'll put out Knives Out 2 in theaters, but only over Thanksgiving weekend.
Right. Yeah, this is a situation where it's what we want in that at least there's product coming out. But it just doesn't seem to have anything going for it that's breaking through. Catherine Newton, star of this. She was great in Blockers. She was good in the Freaky Friday, Freaky movie. Freaky. Just freaky, of course. Good, but she's kind of a total unknown to the general public. I don't think there's any other element of this that really breaks through. I'll throw this out there. I don't think they really capitalized on it in the marketing, but this kind of is the year of the female Frankenstein, because you've got Barbie, which is kind of in some ways a female Frankenstein, but then Poor Things, which is big time a female Frankenstein. And I don't think this movie is riding that wave at all, but do you feel any part of that or see anything in the marketing they could capitalize to sort of just ride the wave of this is the year of female Frankenstein?
I'm always loath to blame the marketing because it's 9 times out of 10, it's a shoot the messenger type situation. That being said, I would argue there hasn't been a ton of conventional publicity, at least to the point that, how do I say this without being a jerk? I do believe there is a scenario where a film starring Catherine Newton, directed by Robin Williams' daughter, and written by the woman that penned Jennifer's Body,
Mm-hmm.
could have made a little bit of noise this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking big opening weekend, but I'm talking enough so we're not, explaining why a $6 million opening isn't that bad, really.
Right. Well, I mean, we'll get to our full-on predictions for the weekend, but do you feel like 6 million is starting to feel high based on the buzz this is going into? Like, I mean, Clayton, throw it out there. Do you think this will cry macho? Because you brought it up over a text to me today.
Well, that was Christopher. Wannabe senior intern Christopher invoked the cry macho. So let's give credit where credit is due.
Yep.
Yeah, I do think, and cry macho is in 4, like it's 4. So it's not a crazy low number. I mean, you threw out Playmobil, which is just pure lunatic speak.
Right.
How about this? Freaky, which came out in October of 2020, obvious handicaps going on. That did 3.5, which was what basically everything was opening to at that time, give or take.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, and Jennifer's Body in 2009 only opened to 6.8. So, I mean, I think this movie could open lower than that because also at that time you had hot stars. You had a very hot writer. And so I do think that this, we didn't mention Cole Sprouse. Cole Sprouse is the Riverdale gentleman. He is in this film as well. So there is some, I guess, beefcake, if you will. The ladies might like Cole Sprouse. But again, I'm not seeing, like you were saying, any sort of conventional or unconventional promotion for this. I'm not seeing them sitting down and eating hot wings, obviously. I'm not seeing them tasting European snacks on Lad Bible. These things I'm not seeing. So those are the things where you could see the personalities of these people. I'm seeing more stuff about Mr. and Mrs. Smith and Amazon show than I'm seeing about this. So I do think, the promotion here, I like the trailers. I think it looked cute. It makes me want to see, me and Pat are seeing this movie this weekend.
Yep.
But again, it's just not penetrating. It's not penetrating in any way. And that's where, you're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, if they could sell this movie more honestly, it's a shame they can't just say, Catherine Newton wears like 8 different goth outfits.
Perfect. I mean, yeah.
And depending on how you interpret that statement, either way is an appealing movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's a very, I mean, listen, that's a very 1990s way to sell a movie. That young rising starlet will be in various goth outfits. Obviously Winona Ryder made her bones on that kind of movie pitch back in the mid 90s. So yeah, it's going to be a tough weekend. It's really nothing is breaking through the Taylor Swift big game. That's all anyone wants to cover right now.
To be fair, while I was more optimistic, even at the beginning of the year, just because I expected a bit more aggressive marketing, but whatever, these things happen. Most of the films that we talk about as being these generational cult classics, especially, frankly, the ones aimed at women, Heathers, Jennifer's Body, they weren't all huge hits.
Right.
So, again, I think it will do very well on PVOD in terms of its budget and what it would need to do to make money.
Right.
It's just not good news for theaters.
Right. That's a bigger thing. Yeah, because 13 million, this movie will make 13 million plus over the course of its life several times over. It's just, not that many people are going to be buying Lisa Frankenstein commemorative popcorn buckets this week.